ggplot2. So what is ggplot2? Well, ggplot2 is a data visualization package in R, providing a general scheme for data visualization. It breaks up the graphs into semantic components such as scales and layers, and is a fantastic alternative for the basic graphics of R. The graphics within ggplot tend to be much better, and it allows for much more dynamic and complex visualizations. So if we want to create a bar plot with just one variable with bars in ggplot, frequency doesn't have to be calculated. So we load the library ggplot2. The HSB is another built-in dataset, and read is a reading score. And we're saying graph the reading score using geom_bar or a bar chart. And you can see what these counts are by reading score. We can also create a kernel density plot with a variable on a curved line. So again, we're using ggplot, we're using the HSB dataset, and with the read score, and we use geom density, which is a kernel density plot. And we can see here that the distribution looks relatively normal, with the majority of scores around 50. So if we want to create a histogram using the air quality dataset, again, we've loaded ggplot2, air quality is the dataset, and then we're looking at ozone. Geom histogram, if you've noticed a common theme, geom is used for all of the ggplots. And so we're using the histogram. We're saying we want the bin width to be 5. So every 5 will create a new bar. We want the border of all of these to be black, and we want to fill it with blue. We want this to scale continuously, name the X label mean ozone in N parts per billion, and then you can see that we can also set breaks. So this sequencing 0, 175, and 25, and we can have lower and upper limits in regards to what data we tend to include. Because a lot of times, if you include an extreme outlier, let's say Bill Gates' wealth in regards to average income or revenue, that becomes problematic because he will drastically reduce or drastically increase the overall mean. And because he's extremely far out there and extremely high in regards to that overall, we wouldn't really be able to see revenue or income of most individuals. The other two things on here as well, we have the scale continuous name count, or scale Y continuous, which is for the Y-axis, and then the GG title, frequency histogram of mean ozone for the main title. Now, if we want to create a box and whisker plot using the air quality data set, you can see that we create these factors by month. We can create labels, May, June, July, August, and September. Here we're using the ggplot air quality, and we're putting month on the x-axis, ozone on the y-axis, and then we're using geom box plot to create these box and whisker plots. So we're filling it blue again, and we're putting that color border as black. Same thing, we're using scale Y and scale X. Now you can see they actually have discrete and continuous, because we need to know if an object or number or whatever we're looking at is discrete or continuous. Continuous would mean it goes from a range sequentially without any gaps. So let's say 0 to 100 by ones is continuous. It also, technically, with continuous, shouldn't have an explicit range, whereas discrete are essentially grouped. So month is a discrete variable. And so here we have the scale Y continuous, we labeled it, we have the breaks and our limits just as before. We have the x-axis, we've named it month. We have the title as box plot of mean ozone by month. And then when you look at these visualizations, you can see interesting findings, right? So May, June, August, and September have extreme outliers at some point in their month. You can also see that July and August interquartile range is much larger than May, June, and September. The ozone for those tends to be higher as well, and you can see that based on the median. It's always important to look at these graphs and ascertain what similarities exist and what differences exist across what you're trying to look at. And once you've seen those, then it's important to ask yourself why. Why are July and August, IQR, and medians much higher? Why does September have 4 outliers? And that leads to investigations into the data.